Angel Firpo got an away goal. That means they are in the driver's seat in this second leg here in Usulutan. Firpo will be facing a much different DC United side that they faced at RFK, as Tom Sohn will throw everything he's got at him to try and get the result. Max Bredos and Brian Dunn said DC United, they have a great 11. This team should be able to come through here, you would imagine.
And for DC United, they're going to be facing a LA Firpo team that Agustin Castillo is keeping the exact same starting 11. Starts with Gomez in goal, Salazar the captain in the back, matching up with Tercios, keeping on the number 24 Alas. But up front, it's Benitez and Leguizamon, two very, very dangerous players.
There's the starting 11 for DC United and Tom Sohn.
And for DC United, three starters that started last week. It'll be Jakovic in the back with Birch and Namath to his right. Rodney Wallace gets the matchup with Ben Olsen. And up top, Jaime Moreno, the goal scorer from last week. He'll pair up with Luciano Emilio, coming off with a few goals on the weekend at Houston.
Oscar Moncada of Honduras is the man in the middle. Firpo in white, outplaying DC United. Brian and I had a good chance to look at that game. They outshot DC 9-6 and overall played better, especially as the game wore on.
Yeah, and after getting that all-important road goal, Agustin Castillo and CD Luis Angel Firpo just 90 minutes away from claiming a spot in Group B. For DC United, it'll take a victory during regulation, a tie with at least 2 goals scored, or penalties after a 1-1 result on the road.
The best clearance from Wicks, but it does come out wide. Mark Birch. DC do apply pressure as it came off the foot of Wicks to initiate this, an early set-piece opportunity. Group that featured Jacobson, Zatela. Janicki has been replaced with the old guard, the old reliable guard, including this man, Christian Gomez, who has 6 goals this season for DC. It's a good ball in, headed away by Monteagudo. Looking for Leguizamon. Once again, as we touched on in the first leg, Firpo have not begun their domestic campaign. That will begin in about 10 days. And that was another advantage in DC's direction, but they weren't able to take advantage of that in that first match at RFK.
And a few things leading into the match for DC United, coming off that result at the weekend. Short recovery time. You're pretty much going with your full starting 11 for Tommy Sohn. You're going to be on the road, a little bit more travel you're dealing with. For Firpo, they've been able to relax for 7 days. But for DC, it's highly, highly important that they keep as much possession as possible and really use the tandem of Rodney Wallace and Ben Olsen to relay that ball back and forth and force Firpo to chase the game. Last week, around the 70th, 75th minute, we saw them start to fade off just a bit on the fitness side of things.
Something you would expect to see, maybe took a little bit longer than anticipated. Mark Birch showing the wear and tear of the busy schedule. He's got a shiner right below his eye. Coming off a 4-3 shootout loss to the Dynamo match. They were losing 4-1 late. Monteagudo, number 4 and the number 15, 2 of the good young players in Firpo, and for that matter, the El Salvadorian national team. Straight out, Namath also back in the starting 11.
And this is a good start for DC United, really pushing the pace, finding themselves in good possession in that final third. It'll be interesting to see how much of the ball both Fred on the left and this man, Santino Quaranta, on the right, can see. Look to spread the field. We've already seen Carlos Monteagudo, the number 4 for Firpo, dropping extremely deep, something we didn't see too often in the first 90 minutes.
Jakovic, there was talk whether Tom Sohn goes with a back 4, where many thought the attack was stimulated a little bit more than when they go with the back 3 they've been using all season. They go with the 3-5-2 here again. Ball coming into Lay. Leguizamon on the near side. Mark Birch gets the better of it. Wallace, who played on that left spot, that spot now filled by Fred, and Wallace moves to the midfield. That responsibility he has taken time and time again, playing all over the paddock for DC in his rookie season. That one off Monteagudo, falls to the feet of Jorge Sanchez. Throw in for Firpo here in the 5th. This was the first match of the CONCACAF Champions League last Tuesday. Eight different starters from the game that DC played in. And also a different formation they had a back four as the goal scorer from last week's match, Benitez, offside.
You just see the athleticism from Benitez. Good step by the back three for DC United. Right away, raising their hand with both Birch and Jakovic pinched in, staying together. Very easy to read. Namoff pushed up just a little bit higher on the right-hand side, but highly important for DC United if they're going to play that high line, that they stay on the same page. A lot of communication, especially on the road.
Great ball by Mark Birch that caught Jaime Moreno off guard as it sailed over the Firpo midfield. This is Manuel Salazar, the captain at 23. This goes to show what an impact he has made. And maybe the next Salvadorian player that Major League Soccer wants to take a look at. A couple players from this country making their way to Major League Soccer in the 2009 season. Pacheco and Sanchez. You got to use those resources, Dunny. I tell you, the Caribbean, Central America, Trinidad and Tobago, I was reading, led by Dwight York, we're trying to get more and more players on Major League Soccer rosters. That can't be a bad thing. The oldest club in El Salvador, not the most successful. The title of that goes to FAS, the club from Santana, who have won 16 titles. Firpo just behind Aguila with 9 titles. That one's blocked by Fred. It falls to Emilio. Emilio's ball does not get through. Christian Sanchez, the man who lost it the first time around. Few mistakes, one after the other, finally cleaned up by Salazar. Points forward. Anticipating that is Dejan Jakovic. Dejan Jakovic has had an excruciatingly difficult and demanding schedule for country and now club. Here's Wallace. Ben Olsen. The good news, it almost was just a throw. As we have a break in the action, a reminder on Saturday is MLS Saturday on FSC, the New England Revolution. Well, let's take a look at DC United and Real Madrid. Of course, this is the game that's the next on the schedule for DC. They're set to play Sunday, August 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern. The two teams met in a 1-1 draw at the same date in 2006 in Seattle, witnessed by 67,000. Madrid have recently added Kaká, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Xabi Alonso to an already star-studded roster. United will line up 3 players: Jaime Moreno, Ben Olsen, and Christian Gomez, who played in the match in Seattle. More than 60,000 seats have already been sold for Sunday's match. Quality seats remain available at www.dcunited.com. Fans may also tune in to see all the action live on Fox Soccer Channel. Comes up to Emilio on the left. About as much space as he saw in the first leg. Little chip effort gets through to Quaranta.
And you can see the frustration from the keeper, Juan Gomez. Isolation 101. Emilio just pushes the ball for the far post. Little snap down header. But for DC United, once again, opening up the flanks. Highly dangerous when both Jaime Moreno and Luciano Emilio start peeling out to the outside. You're starting to see Christian Gomez come right through the heart of the Firpo defense. That's where DC United will continue to have success. Good start early on the road.
In the 1-1 tie last week, Emilio, as you may remember, came in the 40th minute. Turned out to be an injury to Ange Encilu. Forced the prompt substitution by Thompson. Pontius also came in, as did Christian Gomez. Gomez coming in at the half. So although it wasn't for 90 minutes, they did have almost their best team, with a couple exceptions, on the field at some time. Monteagudo. It's going to be no problem for Josh Wicks, who replaces Milos Kosic.
When you see a nice little recovery run from Rodney Wallace, the number 22 rookie for DC United, coming out of that midfield, staying with the late run of the number 10, Leonardo Franco.
Finally, Wicks gets into it. Targeting Emilio. Tackle judged to be fair by Jose Campos. Kept alive by Firpo. Again, if this match ends up scoreless, Firpo advance to the group. A group still to be determined. We do know Toluca and Marathon of Honduras are in. San Juan Jablote or San Francisco Panama will firm up the group, with San Francisco winning the first leg over their Trinidadian opponent.
You're starting to see a nice battle between the captain, Manuel Salazar, the number 15 for Firpo, and the number 11, Luciano Emilio, up top for DC United. There's a different level of intensity in this first 10 minutes, something that we did not see at home last week. You see the little bit of pressure that Luciano Emilio puts on the center backs, forcing that quick pass. They might not be ready, not set up. We're starting to see Jose Campos pushing a little bit more to that right-hand flank, something we did not see during the first leg.
Earlier today, as you may have seen on Fox Soccer Channel, 0-0 between Puerto Rico and Toronto. So Puerto Rico move on in their group. Cruz Azul and Herediano are in the qualifiers. There was a shot by Leguizamon. Cruz Azul won 6-2, so you can pretty much put Group C in ink, as Cruz Azul will join Puerto Rico, Saprissa, and Columbus. All due respect to Herediano, but that would be, well, easily said the biggest stunner in CONCACAF Champions League history. Here's Wicks. Rather tepid start here, which can't really favor DC United. Like to show some signs of life, even though you have to be rather cautious in your approach when you make a trip to Central America. Agustin Castillo may have been caught by surprise by that ball. Didn't really play it as well as some of the managers do on the sidelines.
Now, one thing DC United hasn't had to worry about is the condition of the pitch. Ball doesn't seem to be bouncing around as it usually does as the summer progresses. And it really plays into the hands of DC United with their ability to run off the ball, the combination passes, the triangles, open up space. And that's really the strength of DC United when they can keep positive possession in that midfield and final third.
So some nice skills by Santino Quaranta, who was off on international duty for almost the better part of a month, I guess we could call it. Firpo getting most of the possession early days here. Wallace. Gomez playing pretty high up there through the legs. Goes Jaime Moreno. Quaranta. Moreno. Excellent ball to Fred, who's going to cut to the midfield. Cross it. Well weighed. Too tall for Moreno, but it almost landed for Luciano Emilio right behind him.
And one of the reasons DC United has had success this year in situations like this, look at the back door. Luciano Emilio is allowed to be just a little bit more free with the reacquisition of Christian Gomez. It'll allow the number 99, Jaime Moreno, or Luciano Emilio to pull out of their normal front runner spots because of the ability of Christian Gomez to push right down the heart and really get into an attacking situation. It's really that playing and moving, forcing Firpo to make decisions defensively that ideally they would not like to make. Center backs getting pulled out to the touchline.
Turcios. Monteagudo. He strikes you as the danger man. He has that X factor that might be able to put Firpo over the top. This is Carlos Monteagudo. Draws out Wallace. Almost got by Olsen. Takes a deflection to DC United's benefit. Emilio. He'll chip it for Moreno. Marked by Salazar. Firpo looked concentrated and ready for this one. Played by Neymar. Feeling the pressure here from Leguizamon. Gets away from it, but does not pay for it.
Neymar facing his own keeper. Gets out of trouble initially. You see it's a bit of a touch tackle. Opens himself up. Gets a big challenge on Mario Benitez. Fortunately for DC United, the ball deflects off. But similar to what we saw last week, DC United needs to be careful on that back line. Cannot get stripped. We already saw the pace of Mario Benitez last week, scoring that goal in the 26th minute and giving Firpo that all-important goal on the road.
Mario Benitez, along with Ley, the big signings for Firpo in the offseason by Agustin Castillo. Benitez coming from Colombian First Division side Real Cartagena. Moreno. Here comes Fred. Better from DC as they force Firpo to shift. Wallace prefers that left foot. Skips out Olsen. Moreno, it's going wide for Emilio. And in the end, little decoy. We'll see it as a goal kick for Jose Gomez.
And while the end result wasn't there, good combination passing. Really like seeing Rodney Wallace pushing up higher. Ben Olsen just a little bit to his left, pushing through, but that combination passing, those little flicks, opening up the space. With the way this game started off in the first 15 minutes, you got to think that DC United has come out with that intensity, knowing that because they're a goal down, they have to create opportunities for themselves. They cannot sit back and allow Firpo to bring the play, what we saw in the second half of last week's match.
This time, Birch on the opposite end as he gives up the free kick to Leguizamon. Crafty Argentine, number 11. And it'll be Denis Alas. They have different set-piece takers, but this is the guy with the hardest boot. Just loops in a bowl, and it's gotten Wicks off his line, but Wallace able to back him up.
And you hear the big shout from Josh Wicks. You've got to have your defender just box out that late run from Benitez. You cannot allow him to go up and challenge. When a keeper makes that shout, you have to clear out space. And for Josh Wicks, if he's going to make that shout, he's got to make sure he gets the ball. A situation like that cannot happen.
Mistake by Mark Birch. After a mistake from Wicks, down goes Ley. Looked like a foul. May have been just outside the 18. Not getting the home cooking, as they would say. But once again, Firpo the better of the two teams, even with a star-studded DC 11.
And you see the conversation by Jose Campos, the number 23, with the referee, Oscar Moncado. Very, very close situation for DC United. Defensively, have to be extremely careful. Keep an eye on the left leg of Rodney Wallace. When does he step in? There was contact. Very, very fortunate that being on the road that the referee does not point to the spot.
This match is at risk perhaps of getting a bit chippy with a couple incidents we have had. That wasn't the case in the first leg where we just had 2 yellow cards total. We haven't had one yet here, but almost had a penalty and a yellow. Bang, bang. Once again, they look sharp and focused to Firpo. It's going to force DC United to play it a little harder. Think a little more broad. This is a DC squad over the last few years, and remember they won the Champions Cup back in '98 when the club was in its infancy. Also went on to win the Inter-American Cup, but in recent years in international competition they have had very little success. Just look back at last year's Champions League where they only got a point in 6 matches. It's a good ball, almost got to Emilio. Now it will favor Firpo, the foul from Jaime Moreno.
And one of the strengths of Jaime Moreno is just bottling down low, just making sure he gets just that little bit of an angle underneath the defender. Uses his body to create space, similar in the way he receives a ball at his feet, looks to separate the defender and the ball by putting himself in the underneath. Sometimes he's called for simple fouls, but it's one of the strengths that really helps Jaime Moreno create that space and look for those combination passes as well as creating shots for himself.
Booming clearance by Gomez, almost found Benitez. DC have it in their possession. Quaranta making a run on the left was Fred. Quaranta shakes him off, and now back to Neymar.
And Max, you can see how Firpo's just looking to clog the midfield, making life difficult for these simple balls to Ben Olsen and Rodney Wallace. You see how quickly they push up with numbers. While they're lining up in a 4-3-1-2 formation, they're really dropping in numbers. They're pushing it outside back into the midfield, looking to overload. When the ball's on the left, the number 19, Christian Sanchez, the right back, is pulling all the way into the midfield, and they're just trying to figure out a way to keep an eye on Christian Gomez and those simple balls up to both Emilio and Jaime Moreno.
On the left side, DC with weapons on both sides. Wallace for Quaranta. Little spin, now he faces goal, back to Fred. Third season with DC United for Fred. Previously in the A-League. Birch. Now Fred. The introduction of Birch gives DC a different wrinkle here. Wallace. We've seen the patient build-up. Olsen. Now they're in the 18. The turn. Gomez spills it. A little help from Manuel Salazar, and it's back in his arms.
And that's great patience from DC United. Switching the field 3 different times. Wallace getting his head up, finding Ben Olsen. Little simple touch inside. Not a bad angle to have a strike. You see both Jaime Moreno, Luciano Emilio following things up. Grass is a bit slick. Anytime you keep that ball on the deck, you want to make sure both forwards are falling up, doing the blue-collar thing.
Best attack of the evening for DC. First quality shot certainly on Jose Gomez. Now it's Firpo's turn. Christian Sanchez. Flicked in by Leguizamon. But it erupts off his foot and easily into Wicks.
The one thing DC United has to be careful in a 3-5-2 formation is anytime Dejan Jakovic, the number 5, playing in a central role for DC United defensively, steps up into the midfield, he's got to make sure that either his left back, Mark Birch, the number 4, or the number 26, Brian Namath, is pinched in. You want to make sure you don't go to a man-down situation and really allow Firpo to utilize the speed of Mario Benitez or the number 11, Edgar Leguizamon.
Fred take his eye off the ball a couple times here. That time it cost him. MLS Saturday on FSC this week will take us to Gillette Stadium, the New England Revolution, hosting the LA Galaxy. It all starts at 5:30 Eastern Time live on FSC. Wicks just in time before the arrival of Benitez.
And this game's starting to take a little bit more of a turn. It's the second challenge on Ben Olsen when he's been in possession. That Dennis Alas, the number 24 for Firpo, is coming up his backside, just getting him in a little kick at the back of the Achilles. That time, the number 14 for DC United taking exception.
Over the top and straight through to Gomez. The away goal rule means that DC score an away goal tonight, and it's all good news for them, because even if they tie it 1-1, it would force extra time. So even if they go up 1-0, they can they have a little breathing room. Anything more than 1 goal in a tie would mean DC wins. This one's chipped into Benitez. Oh, Benitez had to do so much better. That was the opportunity to put DC in a major hole. He couldn't put it away.
That was a great look for Firpo, but keep an eye on the back door after Benitez knocks his back across. It's just unfortunate for Ben Olsen. Gets caught underneath his feet. Give credit for the cross. Watch the snap down header. But on the back door, covering the far post, is the rookie, Rodney Wallace. Even if that ball was on frame, you have to think Rodney Wallace would have been able to clear that. That being said, you cannot allow a player like Benitez that much time and space inside the 18-yard box.
Short ball by Monteagudo was quality. He continues to be impressive. That's him addressing the first corner kick here for Firpo. At the near post, it's Quaranta. DC dodge a bullet. Will they be forced to do it again? You figure when Firpo brought in Benitez and he scored the goal last week, but those are the moments they're expecting him to finish without any entanglements. And it looks like maybe an offside on Benitez.
Benitez isn't happy, but give credit to Luciano Emilio, the number 11 for DC United. He's putting immediate pressure on that back pass. Once Tercios, the center back, slides the ball to his right to Manuel Salazar, the captain for Firpo, Luciano Emilio is recognizing he can put that instant pressure on the defender, force a simple turnover, and give credit once again to the DC backline staying connected. Once they see Luciano Emilio commit to that ball, they step up as a unit, and it's a simple offsides call.
Organization key for DC, so they face as few goal-scoring opportunities from their hosts, who look eager. And certainly good for Agustin Castillo. You could see teams take an alternate route where maybe they get a way too safe, way too early. Firpo playing with good equilibrium and getting more chances than their opponent. Midfield collision as Leguizamon was taken out of the play. Looked accidental, however, that may not matter. And it could lead to a first yellow card of the match here.
This is good control from the referee, Oscar Mancada, the 31-year-old Honduran.
It has to be Ben Olsen down there, you would imagine. He was right where he usually plays.
No, it's really not a lot. Ben Olsen's just back pressing. Leguizamon's trying to get himself out of pressure, cutting the ball with the outside of his left foot.
Could be a yellow card the other direction. Shouldn't be a yellow either way. As you could see, it looked pretty violent, but certainly accidental. Leguizamon going one way, Olsen the other.
It's been a good start for DC United. Yeah, they've given up one or two situations they probably should have done better with defensively. Josh Wicks seems to be coming off his lines. Got to make sure that he gets to the ball a bit quicker. But offensively, doing a very good job creating while staying patient. This is a Firpo team that knows they have the advantage. They're dropping in numbers defensively, making sure they have at least 9 in front of the ball at all times. And for this man, Ben Olsen, paired up with Rodney Wallace, it's been a good start in the central part of the midfield.
Ben Olsen, the 1998 MLS Rookie of the Year, still going strong. Over 220 appearances for DC United, and still only 32. Has obviously had his fair share of injuries, which doesn't play in his favor. Long-range shot will be wide of Josh Wicks' goal. Wicks, who was a trialist with the LA Galaxy last year, now a true bona fide number 1 in Major League Soccer for one of the top teams, if not the top team historically, DC United. Lewis Creighton was a starter at the beginning of the season. He is no longer with the club, and Milos Kosic has platooned at that position, although Wicks has gotten the majority of the starts. With a lot of incentive to play well, Josh Wicks. So if DC United, as this market closes, do they go with another keeper? Or they feel confident enough he could get the job done? Kosic still a bit green.
You see the conversations Luciano Emilio's having with the referee. He's backing in. He's showing that he's using his body to create space. He's not reaching out and drawing the contact with his arms. That's one of the strengths of both Luciano Emilio and Jaime Moreno. An extreme amount of leg strength. They're able to get down, buckle in, and just bump that defender early. Not allow the defender to get up for a simple header, simple clearance.
We'll be down to 16 teams by the end of Thursday. Already moving on today, Puerto Rico Islanders. Jalapa and Pachuca will wrap up their series, with Pachuca with a very strong hold that should easily advance. Pachuca winning the first match 3-0. Tomorrow you've got the Red Bulls at home against W Connection, as well as Cruz Azul and Heredia. And then on Thursday, Árabe Unido hosts Olimpia, San Juan Jablote and San Francisco in a match that affects the teams playing here. And then Real España and Liberia. Real España of Honduras, Liberia of Costa Rica. Once again, it's the Mexican clubs that have been impressive at this stage, with Pachuca and Cruz Azul getting big results. Ben Olsen skidding on the Cuscatlan surface. That one getting through Jose Campos. They couldn't connect with Benitez. Now Fred.
One of the strengths Firpo had last week in D.C. was seeing both Leguizamon, the number 11, and the number 9, Mario Benitez, staying high as a unit. Tonight we've seen Benitez playing all by him lonesome up top, 3 versus 1 situation, with both Leguizamon and Ley dropping back deep in the midfield, looking for some semblance of possession.
I've not seen enough of Ley, certainly not enough to the liking of Agustin Castillo, and the Brazilian looks like he has the tools. Just haven't seen him so far. There's one of 2 Brazilians that DC can counter with, Fred. Mark Birch. We'll get those set piece opportunities in certain positions for Birch. Great left foot that he has. Flicked up by Gomez. Coming through is Christian Sanchez. Now DC with possession. Ben Olsen. Flat to Gomez. The DC players getting a bit detached. And Firpo filling the channels. There's Ley. Good turn for Benitez, but the flag is up. That's better from him. Itching to score after missing that sitting opportunity 10 minutes ago. Emilio had to hold off the defense, but couldn't slap it across. Let's play on. One by Moreno. Now Emilio looking for the shot. Flicks it back for Moreno, and he draws the flag at the other end.
All right, good chances on both ends. You see the flick. You see the assistant referee. He definitely got that one wrong. Great little cut back. Oh, and that's a very, very good step by the captain, Manuel Salazar. There's a reason this 23-year-old has 38 international appearances for his country. Very, very good timing. But good build-up once again between Luciano Emilio and Jaime Moreno, constantly looking for each other and playing off the ball. Once they play that simple ball, they're looking to run and reward each other for those simple passing.
Comes wide to Fred. Some more pressure here by Firpo through Benitez. Benitez gets a deflection. It falls to Campos. Immediate cross coming in from Sanchez, almost to the header of Leguizamon. Kept alive by Ley. Firpo looking for multiple chances here. Now from a very tight angle. Pushed out by Wicks at the near post.
And you see Josh Wicks barking out orders, but this all starts because Fred tries to keep the ball in bounds right where the near assistant referee is. Great save by Wicks, making sure he doesn't get beat at the front post.
Also making sure not to give up a corner kick.
But back to the decision by Fred, Max, he's got to do better. If you want to keep possession, that's one thing. But in that situation, in the final third, having 2 players around you and you're just trying to knock the ball out, try to keep possession, it's great if you pull it off. But a very, very dangerous situation came out of nothing for no reason. Fred, let the ball go out of bounds, give up that throw and get everyone back, get numbers in a good situation.
Fred, not the first time he's given that possession away here in this first half. Nice half volley ball in by Quaranta. It'll be a goal kick for Firpo. DC United and Real Madrid are set to play Sunday, August the 9th at 3 Eastern Time. The 2 teams met at a 1-1 draw at the same date in 2006 in Seattle. It was witnessed by 67,000. Madrid have recently added Kaká, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Xabi Alonso to an already star-studded roster. United will line up 3 players, Jaime Moreno, Ben Olsen, and Christian Gomez, who played in the match in Seattle. More than 60,000 seats have already sold for Sunday's match, but quality seats still remain, and you can get them at www.dcunited.com. You can also tune in to see all the action live on Fox Soccer Channel if you cannot get out to FedEx Field. Christian Sanchez. Plenty of time there. Finally, Fred will address him. The turn by Ley.
Very good decision by the back three once again. Between Birch, Jakovic, and Nemeth, they're doing a good job staying connected, holding the line. For Josh Wicks, he's very easily able to read that buildup. As a back three, if you can hold the line and make sure none of those late runs come charging through the middle, you put yourself in a very good situation as a starting point defensively.
Fred dipping back for a moment, making it a back four. Jakovic, who played right back in the first leg, making room for Greg Janicki, who had hopes that perhaps if they played a back four, he'd be back in the 11. Nice diagonal ball. Nemeth flying up the right. It's a good win by Wallace. Ben Olsen. DC stretching out Firpo's defense, but Fred gave it away again.
That's another challenge in the midfield by the number 14. Ben Olsen goes down early. Campos makes the most out of it. It's the third or fourth foul Ben Olsen's committed in the midfield. Done a good job breaking up the plays alongside Rodney Wallace, but at this stage needs to be careful. Doesn't want to get a yellow card for persistent infringement.
Back to action, Sanchez. Was it last off Leguizamon or Nemeth? It will favor Firpo. No score here. Still looking for our first goal tonight in CONCACAF Champions League play. Big step back by Monteagudo. He drives in a great ball. Once again, great work from Monteagudo as he finds Leguizamon. Be another goal kick here for Josh Wicks, and keep in mind it's a busy few weeks ahead for this DC United team. September 2nd, they will host the US Open Cup final, taking on the Seattle Sounders. Check with DCUnited.com for tickets for that game as they look to defend their US Open Cup.
While last year didn't turn out to be the best as far as CONCACAF Champions League was concerned, you look at the success that DC United had during the Open Cup. A bit frustrated with MLS play. But the players brought in during the offseason, Dejan Jakovic, Johnny DiRamondo, Andrew Jacobson, Anjan Silu, obviously bringing back Christian Gomez, but then you add Zatella, Chris Pontius, Rodney Wallace, Josh Wicks, Trinidad and Tobago International, Avery John. You got to think DC United's put themselves in a position to continue building upon the success they've had this season, but also taking the negatives out of last season and trying to find themselves in that group play.
Free kick here for Firpo. And it will be Alas again. As you can see, they keep DC on their toes with the set pieces. We've seen Monteagudo, Alas, and Ley all take them so far in this first half. Alas going to the far post. They want a handball, and they're going to get a penalty! And a yellow card, the first of the match to Mark Birch. A penalty was awarded to DC in the first leg. It's going the other way here at the Cuscatlan.
When it was close the first time around with the challenge by Rodney Wallace. And it's pretty evident. Birch leads with the left arm. He's not looking for the ball. He's just trying to make life difficult on the far post for Benitez. Benitez goes up, looks to have a clean line for the header. Just got away from Birch at the last second. And for Birch, it's always going to be difficult. The moment you lose your man in the box and you know it's going to be a quality service, you try to make yourself as big as possible. Unfortunately, when you put your hands up, you're putting yourself in the hands of the referee.
Great ball by Alas, and the target was Mario Benitez. Remember, he missed that header earlier. His body language suggested, I ain't missing it a second time. So maybe not a bad penalty. We will see if Josh Wicks can pull it off here. It's going to be Ley. One of two big signings for Firpo in the offseason. And if Josh Wicks wants to certainly feel comfortable as the number one, this could go some direction in determining that. Here we go. Big moment at the Cuscatlan. 39th minute. Ley The dummy puts it in.
I'll tell you what, right now Josh Wicks is asking if Lay had completely stopped in his motion. He makes an interesting run up to the ball. Ends up getting the goal. But watch the hitch. That's always going to be frustrating for a keeper to have to deal with. Did he stop? He fooled the camera.
And we learned something new here about the penalty rule, and obviously it's to his advantage to come to a stop. It looked like it was a stop. Tom Sohn wants an explanation, as does Josh Wicks. As a goalkeeper, that's the kind of rules you know right from the beginning. This one goes all the way through. The defense pulled back, but a meek header in the end.
And you can see, after the ball rolled into the back of the net, every single DC United player looking at the referee.
Not the end of the world for DC. One goal will still put him in business for extra time if it gets that far. Finding his way all the way through and getting the free kick. It full steam ahead was Quaranta, and now the first yellow card for Firpo, and more importantly, a great free kick opportunity.
And Campo was pushing at the ball, but watch his left leg go up. He's just trying to create the space. Give credit to Quaranta, really pushing the pace. That's something that DC United needs to continue to see. Coming in from that right-hand side, running at the heart of the defense, really allowing both Emilio and Moreno to peel off, opening up that space.
Campos yelling at Quaranta. Quaranta saying, look at the referee. It's our free kick, and we mentioned Mark Birch, and he's a possibility here. Christian Gomez, the right footer as well. Two very competent takers there. And Firpo have to be aware of the danger of both.
Well, you got the left-footed Mark Birch lining up.
Birch does not have a league goal, so if he's able to slap it in, it would be his first of the season. Gomez with 6.
And this is the ideal distance from the goal. That's a long 10 yards that the referee's pulling that wall back. And you see, perfect angle. Birch, he's got the ability with the power. Gomez has the ability with the placement.
Big decision. It goes Gomez's direction. He chips it, and he's tied it! What a response from DC United! Christian Gomez gets the club's first CONCACAF second Champions League goal, I should say. First, not from a penalty, and it's 1-1.
Watch it on the run-up. The way he strikes the ball. Gets a little bit of the grass, goes up and over the ball. Give credit to Juan Gomez, the keeper. Gets a hand to it. Unfortunately, that placement. Wall doesn't really jump. Jumps on the outside parts, but right through the middle. Stays on its feet. Absolutely fantastic finish by Christian Gomez.
And that first penalty has just opened up this game big time. Benitez straight into Wicks. We had to wait a while, but perhaps this game and perhaps this tournament, certainly from the MLS perspective, has come to life. And after goals at both ends, it benefits DC United. They have that away goal, and it's 2-2, and everything's squared. Maybe a small price to pay to give him that penalty to get the space at the other end that can afford you a free kick opportunity. Now both teams with the same to gain from a goal. Whoever can get it, and you get the feeling that there's one in the air the way this game has come alive. Firpo, you have to say we're a little more cautious. DC for the same reasons, but now both can have that incentive to go forward.
I have to give credit to DC United. Fantastic response. Doing a very good job getting themselves back in this game. Responding after only 3 minutes. Would have been extremely difficult to come out in the second half and be a goal down. But we talked about it. Victory during regulation. A tie with at least 2 goals scored. Or if it stays as it is right now, it'll go to penalties.
In other words, DC scores another goal. That means Firpo need to score twice in order to advance. Thompson, I'm sure, will make that extra clear to his squad, as they still have the bit between the teeth. Jakovic, very good feet. Fred. Maybe the 5th time Fred has given the ball away tonight from behind the foul by Gomez. One in the midfield by Gomez, or Moreno, pardon me. Flying in on the dangerous fashion, Jakovic. And we get the goals flying in, and the yellow cards also. 2 goals, 3 yellows in about 10 minutes.
And that's not the yellow card you want to take. Dejan Jakovic, Canadian international, 5 caps to his name following the 2009 Gold Cup. You see the step. It's dangerous because he's showing the bottom of his cleats. He's a bit frustrated. When you throw away the ball right in front of the referee, you're just asking to be booked. Got to be a little bit smarter about that because he's been very, very good throughout the course of the first 45 minutes.
The referee?
Jakovic.
Yes. Oscar Moncada, our referee. And again, this was a first leg that only saw yellow for each team, but now that category starts to grow. Benitez, plenty of space out wide for Leguizamon, and that's why he has all that space. 1 additional minute has been shown, so this first half about to end.
And you see how difficult it is for Brian Namath. He's the right back. He's tucked in a little bit. He's got to make sure he stays with that line. And as a right back, you're always worried what's going on behind you, but you have to have faith in your line. That time, making a very good decision holding with Dejan Jakovic.
Panic for a few minutes for DC United and their fans, but looking much more optimistic after the response. A free kick glory strike. Moncada back to start us off for the second half. It's all level, 1-1. It's all level on the aggregate, 2-2. Both teams with an away goal. In other words, it's level. Glad you could join us for the second leg of these qualifiers before we hit the group stages of the Champions League. I'm Max Bredos, along with Brian Dunseth. Concerned about the MLS clubs and their performance, but a jolt provided by Christian Gomez. You have guys like Gomez and Moreno, and you just need that little moment once in a while to propel you through, and Gomez just gave him one.
And for Tommy Sohn in the second half, he's got Kosic, Avery John, Devin McTavish, Jacobson, Zatella, Pontius, and Janicki on the bench, available for substitution at any point. DC United continues to push the tempo, especially in the second half. Look to keep that same possession that we saw start off with that same intensity. This first 10 minutes is going to be huge for DC United.
No second-guessing the fitness of some of the old-timers like Moreno and Olsen and Gomez, but they are 35, 32, and 34 respectively, so the bench may need to be or will be used at some point. Here's a nice push by Benitez. No whistle against Wallace. Benitez looking to come in hot, but the ball out by Jakovic to Quaranta.
That's the 3rd time we've seen Benitez go down under very, very light pressure. It's been one of the reasons why Firpo really hasn't created any opportunities in the attack. During that first leg, Benitez and Leguizamon pushing up extremely high. Tonight, it's just Benitez all by himself. Very interesting, because you think that tactic would be used more on the road rather than being at home.
It's been a well-officiated game by Moncada, so he hasn't bit on some of those Benitez flops. And if you want a free kick, at least to this point, in order to get one, you have to earn it. No doubt about the penalty. It's allowed both these teams to develop their attack from humble beginnings. As it comes out from Namath to Quaranta. He's going to switch it. It was behind Moreno, intended for Fred, well short of him. Wallace brings it down. Jorge Sanchez, to the delight of the Cuscatlan crowd, gets around Quaranta, almost around Wallace. Leguizamon's going to take away the option back to the keeper and force Namath to hand it over. Smart play by the number 11 for Firpo. Not enough on that as Quaranta intercepts. Gomez. You see an after effect from the exciting conclusion of the first half as we start this second half. Both teams pushing hard. Birch asked for Emilio to come up. He did, but he mishit it.
But you can see the communication from the left back, Mark Birch, just giving a signal. He wants Luciano Emilio just to check. But for Birch, if he's going to loft that ball up, he's going to make life a little bit difficult for Emilio to control. That's why you saw the little bit of the outside of the right foot flick attempt. But remember, in the second half, keep an eye on Dejan Jakovic. He picked up that yellow card for throwing the ball away at the end of the first half. That could come back to haunt him as this second half continues on.
Both clubs looking to return to the group stages of the CONCACAF Champions League. Both were unable to qualify for the quarterfinals. DC finishing dead last in their group without a victory. Firpo narrowly missing out behind the Houston Dynamo. Who would finish second in that group behind Atlante. Monteagudo making a push forward. Good strength from Jakovic as he brushes aside Monteagudo. Space underneath for Emilio. This might work. It will not in the end. Not enough to propel it forward.
Dejan Jakovic reading that build-up extremely well with Brian Namath pushing up that right-hand side. Jakovic pinches over a little bit to his right, reads the play well, simple pickup.
Emilio. There's the captain, Salazar. You can see what a difference it makes. You can beat one defender and you're in business. That's what Emilio did. Quaranta. Almost maybe corner kick. Nope, just slips away for a throw-in for DC. They're getting closer though, up this near side.
When you start to see when DC United gets possession right near that final third of Firpo's defense, you see how quickly they collapse with numbers, making life difficult. All the balls for DC United have been forced out wide. We haven't seen that simple possession right down the heart of the defense, similar to what we saw in the first 10 minutes of this match. Firpo's really tightened up, dropped in numbers, and are really defending with 5 players in the midfield, forcing Ley, the number 10, back to defend.
It's definitely shifted into DC United's favor as Brian Namath gets a miraculous corner kick as he goes around Jorge Sanchez. DC gave up a goal, but they got the away goal they needed, so the pressure's off for now. Now they go for that second goal that could just about assure a spot in the next stage. Christian Gomez. Ben Olsen at the end of that line, probably not the intended target, but they'll retain possession. No one open. Finally Wallace, still in play for Olsen. Immediate cross. Emilio chests it out. Long range effort from Quaranta off the left boot.
And for DC United, really creating something out of nothing. Give credit to Ben Olsen, really not forcing it. Gets that simple little throw in. The rookie Rodney Wallace has the presence of mind to play him back quickly after being collapsed on by 2 defenders. And while the execution on the final shot wasn't there from Quaranta, you see the idea from Luciano Emilio, using his body, backing down, pushing the defender off, chesting it, and creating a scoring opportunity for DC United.
Benitez. Jaime Moreno. Now Gomez. Christian Gomez, been 08 with Colorado Rapids, made 20 appearances, scored 3 goals down in Commerce City. Spent 2004 through 2007 with DC before making his return this season. Before that, with several clubs in Argentina. Has been a true MLSer with over 5 years of service. Former MLS MVP to boot.
A challenge coming in from Ben Olsen. Just making the most of it, absorbing the foul, making sure the referee, Oscar Moncada, sees it. But the relationship between Ben Olsen and Rodney Wallace has been very, very good tonight. You see their positioning. Olsen's able to go to the left, go to the right, really tuck in. Because of the athleticism of the young 21-year-old Rodney Wallace.
DC United and Real Madrid are set to play Sunday, August the 9th at 3 Eastern Time. The two teams met in a 1-1 draw the same date in 2006 in Seattle, witnessed by 67,000. Madrid have recently added Kaká, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Xabi Alonso to an already star-studded roster. And United will line up 3 players, Jaime Moreno, Ben Olsen, and Christian Gomez, who played in the match in Seattle. More than 60,000 seats have already been sold for Sunday's match, but quality seats remain available at www.dcunited.com. Fans may also tune in to see all of the action live right here on Fox Soccer Channel, 3 p.m. Eastern, Sunday. So 5 days for DC United to lick their wounds, hopefully with a group stage ticket in hand before they take on mighty Real Madrid, and you can certainly say that with all the players they have brought in this offseason. Bringing in perhaps 2 of the 5 best footballers in the world. This is Leguizamon. Jakovic, very firm. A good ball out. This is where they benefit with him with his passing. A poor ball by Quaranta. No one more frustrated than Santino.
Max, you hit it perfectly. Dejan Jakovic, great read initially, keeps his feet, doesn't get caught flat-footed. Little toe poke, creates the space, uses his strength to push past the forward, but then the presence of mind to find the simple outlet.
Rodney Wallace, born in Costa Rica, still has not determined whether his international aspirations lie with the country of his birth or country of where he plies his trade. Mark Birch about 10 minutes deep into the second half. No change to the halftime score. Goals from the penalty spot by Ley and a free kick, a glorious free kick from Christian Gomez. Moreno slips in. Gomez bangs it off Moreno, and he comes up a bit lame. Moreno still holding that leg. Quaranta. So one less player to work in this offensive set. Wallace. See Moreno at the top of the screen. No look ball by Olsen. He's pulled it back. Needed one more touch to set it on a tray for Emilio. Still on the top of the screen, you could see Moreno limping pretty badly. Neymar. Moreno now running. DC United move forward. Fred. See if they can get something special from him. No look. Gomez spins away from the pressure. Fires!
Incredible piece of skill by Christian Gomez. Watch this turn. Little simple flick. Just gets himself out of trouble. Defender was reading. Just that little give and go. That final accuracy on the shot wasn't there, but for Christian Gomez, just so dangerous when he gets the ball at his feet. Players running off him. He just has that incredible ability to create opportunities, not only for other players, but also for himself.
That DC United bench looking better than it did a few weeks ago, thanks to guys like Danny Zatela and Chris Pontius, who normally would be in the starting 11. Eli Allen's also been added, but he's not on the bench today. Fred. This may work. Gomez. Coming in late is Ben Olsen. It's going to fall to his feet. Wallace off his favorite left foot. And now DC United starting to churn multiple chances towards the goal of Juan Jose Gomez.
Yeah, for Firpo, you got to watch those follow-up runs. This time, Rodney Wallace just having a shot from distance. Ball seemed to just get underneath him. You see the idea. He's going for that far post. He's trying to come back across his body. It makes getting that little bit extra power that much more difficult for DC United, though, following up the play, especially through Ben Olsen and Rodney Wallace, have created numerous opportunities in the attack for DC United.
Firpo making mistakes they weren't making for the majority of the first half. Fred for Olsen. Left it well short. And now Jorge Sanchez.
And once again, one of the problems for Firpo all night long has been the inability to hold the ball up. Whether it's been Leguizamon or Benitez, other than the penalty kick, really no clear-cut opportunities for Firpo in the offensive third. They're sitting back and defending with multiple numbers.
Oh, Moreno turns the ball by 40. Firpo wait for the reaction. It's taken a deflection. Emilio spins away, still on his backside. Could not address it in the end. Firpo living very dangerously. Monteagudo. It's a sharp ball by their best player tonight. Lay. Mishit by Wicks a bit. And Fred wins it back. So more work rate from the DC midfield. And it's made a huge difference. A lot of that was shown to Wallace by Christian Sanchez. Played a bit of possum and it's paid off in a big way. Still alive for Firpo. Name off. Maybe not by design, but it's worked out pretty well to Wallace. Now Fred. Firpo had committed some numbers in that last attack. DC looking to catch him off guard. Wallace, sizing run. Emilio. May have been, it's yours. No, it's yours. Between Moreno and Gomez. Jorge Sanchez. Leguizamon. Sanchez. Knocked away by Olsen, but it goes straight to Denis Alas.
Now you just see how deep Max Firpo is. They're dropping back. Look at those numbers right in the middle of your screen. 5 players just sitting right in the central part of the midfield. And for Firpo, they're really looking for these long balls up top. DC United's doing a very good job back pressing, utilizing both Wallace and Ben Olsen to turn around, put the pressure on the forward, checking back to the ball, and a little toe poke picks them back up. Simple possession.
Natives getting a bit restless. Moreno. Quality ball. You can see he's no longer a rookie, especially playing with this group. Talking about Wallace. Moreno, no panic there. 40 drives it towards Emilio. That's a great ball. And Emilio may have been taken off guard by it.
Also, you got to give credit to the captain, number 15, Manuel Salazar, for Firpo. He's stepping up quickly. He's looking to draw that early contact, just give the slight bump to either Moreno or Luciano Emilio. And he's done a very, very good job making life difficult for both DC United forwards.
Jakovic, who was just whistled for the foul. A little push in the back. Half an hour to go. If there is no additional scoring, there is extra time. Firpo, in the end, could probably use a little extra work ahead of their season. DC United, the last thing they really want after a busy few weeks with Real Madrid lurking on Sunday. Again, if you're in the area, just go to www.DC United to see if you want tickets for that game on Sunday. You can say you were there when you saw the new Real Madrid being formed before your very eyes. Lay. He scored the goal, but has been quiet for the most part. The chase is on, but Jakovic, he's been commanding from sideline to sideline. Still getting used to playing that position. Looks like a keeper at one of the few MLS clubs and play with that back three. Alas regroups and takes the ball back. Jorge Sanchez, a native of Usulután. That was chipped in. Usulután, the city which Firpo calls home. We're in San Salvador, so they could use the more spacious Cuscatlan, but normally they play the more intimate settings of the Sergio Torres, which is in the teens with regards to attendance. You can fit in there. Here you can go well over 50,000. You don't have that tonight, but a good number. You can see the appeal of Firpo.
Well, the biggest challenge that man Agustin Castillo faces for his Firpo team is how to figure out the balance. Offensively, they're not doing anything whatsoever. They picked up a penalty kick. In the first leg, they picked up that cheap turnover at the top of the box, which was a great finish by Benitez. You got to give him that. But overall, the quality possession in the final third just hasn't been there. Now he finds himself in a difficult decision whether he wants to push and really utilize the last 28 minutes of this match, try to get that goal at home, or does he want to sit back and look to play for the penalties? Just really haven't seen anything creative whatsoever in the offensive third for Firpo tonight.
In a tough place to travel, DC have adapted very well. But they could still very well leave empty-handed despite outplaying Firpo on this night. This ball right over the top. Here comes Wicks. Still some problems to address, but finally Wallace, in the end, a pretty good header from Wicks.
That's such a huge decision for your keeper to stay connected and come that far out. If Wicks makes one bad decision, one split second behind that play, he finds himself sent off for contact with a player very, very far outside of his 18-yard box. For DC United, those aren't the type of chances you can give up.
Emilio, little push, but it goes over the head. The cross by Quaranta. They had runners at both posts, did DC.
Keep an eye on the contact at the back door. Little forearm in the back. Christian Sanchez just does enough to make life difficult for Luciano Emilio. For Emilio, he's doing what he was taught to do. Anytime you feel contact in the box and you're not going to get to the ball, you got to look to go down, see if you can get yourself a penalty.
No harm done for the risky play by Wicks, who's had a good match, even at the penalty, for stopping and looking at the referee and trying to get Lay in hot water for his unconventional approach. It didn't pay off, but he knew the rules. Kind of the equivalent of a catcher helping the umpire call a balk in baseball. Once again, Jakovic has been superb and very confident in getting his midfield involved. Line pass taken by Monteagudo into Lay. Neither team has made a change. DC United at halftime last week had already made two changes. Monteagudo between two places was about to perhaps go to the floor. Emilio wins it. Gomez, tidy ball out wide. Moreno draws out the best defender they have in Salazar. Still brewing. Moreno brings in Fred. Wallace! Perfectly set up.
But so difficult for Rodney Wallace to take this shot. Trying to get himself up over the ball. He's fallen off the play. It's coming towards the inside of his right foot, his plant foot. He wants to strike it with his left. And if you lean back just a little bit, you're going to find yourself skying that shot over. But another good job by Jaime Moreno holding that ball up, allowing the late overlapping run from Fred to get in the play. For DC United, they need to continue to create opportunities like that. Hold the ball up, force Firpo back on its legs, and then that last minute follow-up from a Fred, a Benny Olsen, or a Rodney Wallace.
That last play, they finally drew out Salazar. Ryan Namath getting a yellow card for that foul you just saw. All three defenders for DC now carrying yellows, as it appears Firpo are going to be the first to go to the bench. Coach Agustin Castillo, the Peruvian in charge. Saturday, an MLS doubleheader, a tripleheader if you include the late game with Chivas and Barcelona. But in San Jose, we'll take on Columbus Crew at 8 p.m. Eastern Time live from Candlestick. Make sure you tune in for all the activities. Preceding that, New England and LA Galaxy. Here come DC again. Have done all the attacking in this second half. Birch The movement paid off. Salazar falling over. Maybe Firpo getting a little fatigued or a lot fatigued, having to react to everything DC has thrown at them. Monteagudo able to tap it away from Emilio. Right back in from Ben Olsen. Leguizamon sets it out wide for Monteagudo, who maneuvers around Moreno. Jakovic tumbling over Leguizamon. Jakovic has got a yellow card. The crowd here knows that.
And watch the referee when he motions. He thought about it. Coming up the backside. Jakovic on the wrong side defensively. Comes back across, sticks a leg in. You said it, Max. He picked up that soft yellow card for throwing the ball away in the 45th minute, closing out the first half. Dangerous, dangerous spot to find himself in.
Good response to Firpo after a rush of DC attacks. And as Firpo go to the bench here, or after this set piece. Plenty of time for Wicks to sort things out. 22 minutes for one of these teams to change the outcome here and avoid extra time and or penalties. Denis Alas going to the near post. It was Alas's free kick that saw Birch handle the ball and set up the penalty.
Not a bad idea from the 24-year-old international. 42 caps, gets his head up, looking for that near post, looking to catch Josh Wicks cheating. And why not at this stage of the match? If Wicks does get caught, he puts himself in a dangerous situation. Not a bad look from the number 24 for Firpo.
Very hard evening's work for Leguizamon, and feeling the effects certainly of that last foul by Jakovic. And in comes Juan Campos. Emilio leaves it for Olsen. Olsen introduces the midfield. First it's Fred. On song for Moreno. Olsen keeps it moving for Wallace. Fred right in front of Birch. Olsen with space. Birch drives in across. It's there for Emilio.
That's so lucky for the defender, Jorge Sanchez. Very, very fortunate that ball got caught underneath his legs. Great idea from Luciano Emilio, just bringing that ball down with his chest, going across the defender's momentum. Not a bad idea. Remember, Emilio coming off those 2 goals after coming on as a halftime substitute in Houston. Challenge from Wadney Wallace, just getting inside. See a little bit of the pull from Lee.
Not getting the yellow card as Wallace had asked for. Emilio once again banging off the Firpo defense. A play need to be made. Slipping in is Quaranta. He's got his hands full with Monteagudo. Rare mistake by the number 4. Could be a costly one as DC United well into that final third. But look over by Quaranta as if another substitute was about to come in. Emilio plays it out. Another good touch for Neymoff. Wallace meanders through the Firpo midfield. Moreno, one of the few players that can handle a ball that tight in that position. Slips through, given away to Salazar. Olsen puts up a wall, but a push from behind by Gomez. .35-year-old Jaime Moreno will step aside. And Chris Pontius, who came on as a substitute in the first leg and looked dangerous, will replace him. Part of a 2-headed rookie machine, one of the most impressive double rookie introduction that we've seen on an MLS club in quite some time, if ever. Pontius
so far this season, 20 appearances for DC United. 18 starts, 4 goals, 2 assists. Like you said, the acquisition of both he and Rodney Wallace in the draft. They've been great acquisitions for the team. Couldn't really ask for a better draft overall. But for Pontius, he'll go straight up top, pair up with Luciano Emilio. But because he has a little bit more fresher legs, you could see him dropping a little bit deeper and allowing Christian Gomez a little bit more freedom to push up into the attack. Allow those fresh legs to do a little bit extra work right in front of both Rodney Wallace and Ben Olsen.
Another opportunity for Denis Alas. Look back at that MLS Super Draft. No doubt 6 or 7 of the top 10 picks have all panned out magnificently in their first season, and who knows what the future will hold. Alas tries to slip it in. Wicks waited to the last minute, but the flag was up. It was out of play, but cutting it very close. A little trickery almost pays off for Firpo.
Now you see the set play, pulls off the wall. That's where you always got to be aware of who's sitting on that backside. Really close. Really, really close. For Josh Wicks, he has to go down there. No matter what, give up the corner kick. Do not allow a situation like that to build up. Even if you think that ball's going out of bounds, which it did. Too big of a risk in the 74th minute.
Wallace. Now Emilio. Poked away by Jose Campos. DC get the free kick with a quarter of an hour to go. First half goals by Lay and Christian Gomez. No scoring in the second half, but it's been a decisive edge from DC United. They've shown massive improvement from the first leg. Obviously with 8 different starters, that will go a long way in determining that. Playing in a very tough place, not only to play in, but to travel to. Emilio wins it, and now it's Quaranta who's the front runner with him. Hastily cleared.
I think you also got to give DC United credit. Coming off Saturday's loss in Houston, down 3-0 at halftime. Completely different mentality in the second half. They still ended up walking out of Robertson Stadium with 0 points. But that being said, the mentality completely changed during that second 45 minutes. And tonight, it's a similar mentality that they ended that match with. They fought. They've made life difficult for the opponent, and they've done a very good job in the final third creating opportunities for themselves.
Emilio sees 3 defenders close in on him, gets it out to Fred. Quaranta. A goal at this point, and you can sign, seal, and deliver a spot, and that's a great ball in. But another push while airborne. That time from Gomez. Fitness will certainly start to become a factor too, and you would imagine that goes in the favor once again of DC United. In Major League Soccer, where they take fitness as seriously as any league in the world. Somewhat fascinating run into this game. Those 2 goals really changing both teams' outlooks. Wicks comes into view, helped by Jakovic, and we saw that foul by Dejan Jakovic, and he and Nemoff and Birch are all still out there and all have to be extra cautious in case Firpo get another look or two, and perhaps given an opportunity to play a man up for 30 minutes. Blocked by Olsen, kept in front of Sanchez. Monteagudo. He and Salazar trained with Monterrey in Mexican First Division. Wicks makes a big mistake with that clearance. Lay, not forced to pay for it. Well, he's not out of the woods yet. A free kick.
And Honduran referee Oscar Moncado, at first seemingly pointing that it was a foul committed on Jakovic. Keep an eye on the big number 5, leans through. Referee's going to call deflection. And that's one of those challenges you got to be careful as a center back. It all starts with the back pass back to the keeper. Has a few bobbles on the way out. And for Wicks, electing to use his laces rather than just the inside of the foot. At this stage, it's 3 things: height, width, and distance. Just try to get it away from your 18-yard box as quickly as possible and allow your defenders to get back in a good starting defensive position.
Quick ball, well caught there, Brian, on the corner kick decision. Wick sees it sail over the crossbar. So some nervous moments for DC United. No harm done. Let's be a little more thorough, as you said, from Josh Wick's perspective. You don't want to gift wrap an opportunity. In the second half, you've worked so hard as a collective unit.
And Max, that being said, for Wicks, he's got to have his defenders. If they're going to play him a ball back at this stage of the match, it has to be the perfect ball. You do not want to take chances like we just saw. And if there's any chance of that ball not being on the ground at a decent pace that he can clear the ball perfectly, just knock it out. Give up the throw in. Do not give Firpo an opportunity to get that second goal.
Taking some crazy bounces, finally brought to terra firma by Pontius, but now it's Firpo. And another hard foul. This is becoming habit-forming for DC United. May have been Alexander Campos that time.
And one of the first positional mistakes from Dejan Jakovic. You see the recovery from Rodney Wallace. It's not the first time he's dropped back in. That time just using his shoulder. And for me, that's a very, very soft foul to be giving up. And if you continue to give Firpo set-piece opportunities, at some stage they're going to put themselves in a very, very dangerous situation.
Would appear Firpo's getting stronger as this second half wears on. That's kind of the trend they followed in the first leg. And they get another set piece. We're seeing a lot more of Wicks than we're seeing of Gomez. Both teams have made one substitution. Everyone looking to the sideline as if a third is imminent here. 10 minutes to go.
Now, we talked about the fitness issue. Remember, this is a DC United team. For the most part, this starting 11 played significant minutes in the heat down in Houston and fought their way back from a 3-goal deficit as well.
Doesn't get any cooler here in El Salvador. The ball played across. It's deflected and well collected by Wicks. It was off the foot of Christian Sanchez. Once again, Firpo has to keep DC on their toes with these set pieces.
But that's a very good reaction from Wicks. Not allowing that ball to go out for a simple corner kick. Reacts quickly, palms the ball, keeps it in play.
Fred crushed there between two Firpo defenders and perhaps taking a blow to the back of his head. Nothing separating these two clubs over 2 legs. About 170 minutes of action. Neither side really enjoying much of a home pitch advantage either. Tom Sohn with the more tropical look as a manager on the sideline. The man who had a 4-year career in Major League Soccer, also was the assistant to Peter Novak, 03 to 07 here at DC. You see Firpo ready to make their second change here. I believe that's Victor Merino, who's another new face to Firpo, who came on as a sub in the first leg and played very well. And Fred trying to get back out as soon as possible. But not now. We'll have to wait a few beats. Free kick from Birch. Curled around. Quaranta the closest. Jakovic, no foul, and here's Fred back on the pitch. Quickly to Pontius. DC come alive. There is space for this attack to develop. Wallace. Now Birch. Nothing brewing, didn't like the sight line.
And you can see the switch. Chris Pontius just dropping a little bit deeper in that midfield.
Fred working the right side now. Way too easy. He still had a chance to catch up with that ball. And referee's been consistent with looking away on those calls. The switch by Firpo. The explosion by Christian Sanchez. Thrust into the midfield. Now it's off to Jorge Sanchez. Driven in from long range. Skips away from the Josh Wicks goal. It is Victor Merino. Comes over from Aguila in the Salvadorian First Division. And he'll replace Jose Campos.
And this is offensive-minded substitution for Agustin Castillo. Campos holding midfielder, sitting parallel to the number 24, Dennis Alas. But with Merino, he'll sit just a bit higher, push up underneath the forwards. Maybe give Firpo that all-important possession they've been lacking throughout the course of this match.
An aggressive schedule ahead of this game. 2 games a week for some time. DC going through US Open Cup, getting to the semifinals, and now 2 Champions League midweeks. Not to forget mentioning MLS duty. So it's been tough.
Now you talk about the MLS duty. At Toronto on the 15th, then home against LA, and then back on the road against the Chicago Fire. Life doesn't get any easier for the team right now sitting in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference.
Tough way to wrap up the month of August, and throw in Real Madrid there too. Burgess ball out of the reach of everyone into Gomez. 5 minutes left here at the Cuscatlan. Merino. Alas. Lay.
And with that substitution of Merino, you can see his interaction. He drops a little bit deeper when he's looking for the ball, but not afraid to push up.
Here's a chance for Firpo. Sanchez goes down way too easily. Just lost his balance. Pontius. Ball lost by Emilio. Pontius puts up a roadblock. Benitez. Wallace takes it away from him. You can see the demonstrative Agustin Castillo at the bottom of the screen. Doesn't like any call or lack thereof. Gomez. Knocked into the air. Gives Emilio a chance to compete for it. And how about again the strength of Carlos Monteagudo.
Max, you really have to wonder how many times the number 9, Mario Benitez, is going to take a dive in this match without the referee going to his pocket. For a player that's over 6'2", at least 180 pounds, goes down way, way too easy under the slightest of pressure tonight.
The only way to stop that practice is to show a yellow, certainly from the referee's perspective. Right through Emilio again, and they have squeezed him out.
Another look inside the 18-yard box. The number 19, Christian Sanchez, just going down. Ball gets away from him. But with the substitution of the number 8, Victor Merino, it's going to put even more emphasis on Rodney Wallace and Ben Olsen's relationship in the middle. Going to have to stay extremely tight, not allow those simple balls in the midfield.
Merino, curling ball. Big play for Pontius to make. He handles it with aplomb. Now Olsen. Fred makes a run on the right side. Olsen looks it off. Wallace. Pontius wide open. Great first touch. Things still brewing for DC. It's flicked in. Gomez left it behind him.
That was such a good idea from Christian Gomez, using the outside of his right foot just to trap the ball, settle it, because he was looking for that shot. The late run coming right up the heart of the defense. Luciano Emilio just couldn't get it off quick enough. But you just see the creative ability from Christian Gomez and what he brings to this DC United squad. One thing you don't like to see, top of your screen, Santino Quaranta looking to stretch out that calf.
Behind the play, Gomez involved with Alas. There was a whistle against DC further up, and the referee did not see it. If a referee's assistant, we didn't really get that good of a look, but if a referee's assistant saw some foul play, then Gomez could find himself in trouble here.
Well, keep an eye on Gomez as this ball goes backwards. A little bit of a challenge, but that wasn't it. It's right there, right at the last second. Gomez just leaving a little on the backside of Alas. This will be a defensive-minded substitution with Santino coming back. Remember the workload that he had during the Gold Cup. Played significant amount of minutes down at Robertson Stadium. And then that travel schedule. Jacobson will sit in that midfield. Most likely see Rodney Wallace push out a little bit to the left. Pontius a little bit more to the right. But then again, Pontius and Christian Gomez have the freedom to interchange and swap depending on who's closer to the ball.
Just 2 minutes remaining here. And extra time in the cards, it would appear. Konate gave it his all. He played 90 minutes against Houston. That was his first match back to action. Wide open on the far side. It's driven in. But Merino could not bend it inside that near post. DC still with life.
You see how quickly Victor Merino is looking to have an impact on this squad. And for Wicks, he got beat at the weekend on the near post by Brian Ching's shot from distance. That time, make sure he covers that left post. Does a very good job not allowing Merino to have any type of look at that front post.
It's come up to Firpo. They're coming on strong. It's Benitez. Nemoff will clear. DC United Real Madrid are set to play Sunday, August the 9th at 3 Eastern. The two teams met in a 1-1 draw the same date in 06 in Seattle, witnessed by 67,000. Madrid have recently added Kaká, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Xabi Alonso to an already star-studded roster. United will line up 3 players, Jaime Moreno, Ben Olsen, and Christian Gomez, who played in the match in Seattle. More than 60,000 seats have already been sold for Sunday's match, but seats still remain available at www.dcunited.com. You also tune into Fox Soccer Channel to see it live right here on the tube. Nemoff requiring some attention. We're in the 90th minute. Jorge Sanchez. Only stoppage time between these two and an extra 30 minutes. Driven in, well wide by Ley.
And something you don't see too often, Brian Nemoff on the ground just looking to stretch out that calf. Nemoff, one of the Iron Men in MLS this year, starting every single match for DC United, playing the most, 1,800 minutes so far. Goal and 4 assists in the 2009 MLS campaign. Good look, 2 minutes. But keep an eye on the right back. Last thing you want to see is him pull something, come up right at these dying moments.
Shirts off by the fans here at the Cuscatlan. Josh Wicks clears. Maybe chance for one good look for one of these two sides from here on till the final whistle. Christian Sanchez. He's had his moments. Firpo finishing stronger here. Monteagudo. Benitez. Those two combine nicely. Fred and Monteagudo clash. Alas, no look. Another accidental collision. Someone didn't stop at the stop line. See that last defender hanging back. That's Victor Turcios. As both teams put on the safety blanket. Keeper to keeper. Slides off the back of Nemoff's header. Jakovic gets tangled up with Campos. Campos turns the corner. Ley!
And Fred did everything right, looking to double up with Jakovic, but he got caught on the wrong side, and this created the opportunity. Absolutely no way Fred can allow the forward to turn the corner on him. He's got to make sure he pushes him to the sideline. That's an unnecessary opportunity for Firpo inside the 18-yard box in the 92nd minute.
And the first CONCACAF Champions League to see extra time will take place here in El Salvador. 1-1 in the first leg, 1-1 in the second leg, 30 extra minutes and or penalties in these international competitions, whether it's the Champions Cup, the Champions League, the South American Cup. But in recent years, they have had very little success. They hope to make a nice big turn in this extra time session. They've made their third and final substitution.
And with this substitution, Danny Zotella will sit right underneath the forwards. Look for Fred to push a bit higher. Chris Pontius and Christian Gomez will continue to have the freedom just to interchange and overlap.
Fred intercepts. Jacobson. Oh, what a shot! Had a little heat on it.
And Juan Gomez can't be happy with his midfield. No pressure whatsoever. Give credit to Jacobson taking a half chance opportunity. Gomez was lucky. If that was on frame, it had a good look. He was slow to react, went down to his right. Unfortunate for Jacob, just pushed it to the right of the keeper, outside the post.
A strong opening minute in extra time. DC's away goal still would loom large. Pontius trying to come up. And Christian Sanchez brought down by Christian Gomez. Fourth yellow card, DC United. Christian Gomez has been late on a couple challenges.
You can see the frustration. Christian Sanchez leading with his left shoulder, slaps out a little bit of Gomez. Gomez retaliates. And as everyone knows, referees very rarely catch the first one. They always catch the retaliation.
Salazar into Turcios. Pressure by Pontius. Here comes Fred. And it goes back to Gomez. Firpo have one substitution available to them. Benitez. It's on frame, but no problem for Wicks. A nice flight will be back to the nation's capital if DC can pull this off and then get ready for Real Madrid, where no one will be asked to play a hard 90 minutes, especially if you've played a lot coming in. Birch. Still there for DC. Olsen tracks it down. Zotella got it very late. This one skips through, no problem for Gomez. The long-range game being used right now by DC United.
We've seen some more adjustments from DC United. Now, Rodney Wallace is on that left-hand side. Danny Zotella pushes all the way out to the right-hand side. Jacobson, Fred, and Ben Olsen sitting right in the midfield. Christian Gomez has that free roll.
Intercepted by Zotella. Quickly to Pontius. Fred will fill the space. And that's Ben Olsen. You can see the body language. Well, he wedged underneath it. No chance.
You can see the look on Benny's face. He knows right away. Similar to what we saw in the first half. Rodney Wallace leaning back just a little bit. It's always difficult when that ball's laid off. You're trying to get your foot set. It's coming at your plant foot. You're trying to get around it. You're trying to stay down on it. But DC pushing the pace, coming out very, very strong in this first segment.
Wilson again. Oh, and Namath coming up a bit lame there as he was full stretch. And that's onside. And this is massive. If there's any kind of serious injury, it fell to Alexander Campos. He'll walk it off.
Well, we saw through the first 45 minutes, DC United's holding such a great high line. But at this stage of the match, you've got to be very, very sure that you guys are stepped as a unit and there's no late run coming through the midfield. That was a very good look from Firpo. Thankfully, DC United recovered just at the last second.
I can tell you, Pachuca's moved through to the next stage, thumping Jalapa 7-1. They join the Puerto Rico Islanders in the next stage. One MLS club has seen their fate come to a close. That's Toronto. We were certainly dreaming of expanding their brand, but it only goes to Puerto Rico, and they'll have to wait till next year. Firpo have sprung to life. Sanchez. Marino. Firpo looking to join Metapan as Salvadorian teams in the group stages. DC looking to join Columbus and Houston. And perhaps be joined by the Red Bulls. So at this stage, MLS could have 4 teams, as few as 2. And it's broken through for Alexander Campos. Takes it to the midfield. That was his first mistake and his only mistake as Jacobson kills it.
And it's a second very good look for that man, Juan Campos, the substitute in the 70th minute. Great turn, bodies off Jakovic. Very good recovery run from Jacobs. And you have to wonder if he made the right decision coming into his more preferred left foot, or if he should have got it down to the byline and cut that ball back towards the top of the 6-yard box.
Marino. Oh, it slips through the goal mouth. This first extra time session, DC United have been the rabbit. They went out there in that first lap, but they have faded since. And it's been Firpo who ended the second half better, or perhaps ending the first extra time session better.
Well, you got to really hope that this serves as a wake-up call if you're a DC United player. For Josh Wicks, he's calling away. You can hear the shout. 2 DC United players on the front post. And that ball still gets through with a little glancing header. Has to be a lot better at this stage of the match. It's all or nothing. You are fatigued, but you have to do everything in your power to not make simple mistakes.
Jacobson for Wallace. To the midfield. Right-footed shot. It's spilled by Gomez. Here comes Fred!
Great little cut back from Wallace. He goes with his less preferred right foot, keeps it on frame. Question is, should he have cut that ball off and laid it back for Fred? Gomez, he was frustrated. He was talking to the ref because that big swipe Fred took.
Benitez. Chance after chance now in the extras time. Campos looking to redeem himself.
You can start to feel the crowd getting behind Firpo. DC United has to figure out a way to keep better possession and take this crowd and this Firpo team out of this match. Force them to chase the ball and keep that good, solid possession right in that midfield third.
The field is starting to look bigger and bigger for these teams. Every attack is going to take a lot out of you. Monteagudo. Blocked by Zetela. Lay. Again, Agustin Castillo has that one substitution available, but you can make it any time. Sanchez, Christian Sanchez.
This is really one of those stages of the match where your body can't do what your mind's telling it to do. That's why you have to be even smarter. Have to move the ball. And that man, Captain Manuel Salazar, has just had a very, very good game. He's been solid over the 2 legs, and you can see why he's had just about 40 caps representing his national team at only 23 years of age.
He got a bit loose there and lucky to get the free kick because DC could have had a run on goal without Salazar to deal with. Here is Salazar. Jorge Sanchez. Alas. Offside. If it's not offside or a dive, but Benitez have had a forgettable evening.
There you see the line. And this is the second time we've seen this assistant referee make the wrong decision. Fortunately for DC United, it goes in their favor.
So back three has been dislodged here. Good turn away. Gomez in the 18. Couldn't get enough of it. Whistle anyhow.
You start to see how static both teams are in possession. Firpo really resorting to long balls up over the top all night long. Really haven't had a good amount of playing and moving right through this midfield third.
Jorge Sanchez.
You see the referee, Oscar Mancado, calling the foul on Gomez. It's not a lot, but just the way Victor Turcios, the number 3 central defender, puts his head down, he's mimicking that he's been hit in the face by Christian Gomez. Remember, Gomez picking up that yellow card in the 72nd minute.
And the referee's assistant, no hesitation to make that call. Lack of communication as Fred and Zatela see it break down. Marino. Last touch by, looks like Mark Birch.
Yeah, but once again, the number 9, Mario Benitez, just an off night all the way around. Absolutely no ability to hold the ball up whatsoever to bring his team into the play.
The way he ran back into position, he looked absolutely spent there. Those short little steps, pretty telling on your level of fitness. This has worked out pretty well for Fred. Finally lost, though. Good tackle by Turcios. Lay. Sanchez, Monteagudo. Two minutes and 30 seconds to go in this first extra time. Still no change to the score from halftime.
Now you can hear Josh Wicks, the keeper for DC United, screaming at his back four to get up. That's an important thing right now. He's got to make sure that his back line collapses the space, closes down the area, and creates a big enough space in behind their back line that if any ball goes over the top, he can read it easily and commit to the ball coming off.
And that required a lot of effort from Benitez, but it's all for naught. The game plan's perhaps out the window. You're just going on whatever you still have, whatever you still have to give. Almost every player was leaning over because of all they've had to leave on the Cuscatlan pitch this evening. Fred, he's clipped.
I'm actually have to think if either team was going to benefit from this extra time, it would be Firpo. Only because of the amount of games that DC United's been playing recently. It's not that their fitness is low whatsoever. It's just the fatigue factor starts to set in. 2 weeks ago, they're in San Jose. Then they have the midweek match at home. They end up going on the road to Houston. Now tonight, they're down in El Salvador. That's a lot of travel. It's a very difficult game on Saturday at Robertson Stadium in Houston. That's where you got to conserve the ball as much as possible and give yourself an opportunity where you're not chasing and turning it over quickly.
Salazar doing well again. But it's DC United with a throw. You can afford to be picky and choosy here. Fred is going to drive it across. Nemoff. Zatela curls around. Jacobson skips Fred.
Great lunging challenge from the right back, number 19, Christian Sanchez. But for DC, pushing up through this man, Mark Birch on the left-hand side, looking for just that slight advantage. If Birch can continue to push into that space, overload that midfield, he could find himself with that patented left foot serving balls into the box.
First 15 minutes are up. They'll switch directions, and 15 minutes for one of these teams to come up with a goal that would send them through. Otherwise, penalties would be next. Somewhat peculiar extra time session. Both teams clearly fatigued. DC came out explosive 2 minutes to start. And then Firpo had the upper hand, and then DC had a few looks at the tail ends. The effort's there, the execution is not, because of 105 minutes under the belts. Not too much time for the players here.
And if you get a second at this stage of the match, you want to get off your feet. They're not allowed to come off the field, so everything has to come to the touchline. And at this stage, it's just as much mental as it is physical. You've got to stay turned on. You have to limit the soft turnovers and the opportunities that you give to the opponent. Not allow Firpo to start building and creating opportunities.
About 20 minutes after 10 p.m. in El Salvador. And it's Firpo going right to left. Lob it towards Benitez. Handled by Neymar.
And you see the idea from Firpo. Force DC United backwards, face their own keeper defensively. Just create havoc in that final third.
Two teams have seen the CONCACAF Champions League come to a close for them. Gomez up this near sideline. Salazar. Done in by Pontius. Flying into view is Jorge Sanchez. Throw in DC. Pontius. Gomez. Some space in the pocket. Zatela had to really hustle to get there. Drifts away from Alexander Campos. Birch.
Very good spacing defensively from DC United. One player steps up defensively, goes to the forward, another sits in, and then Jacobson does a very good job back pressing, picking up that simple ball.
Gomez, possession still by the skin of their teeth. Olsen! Better than his last effort, but still not good enough. And the long-range shots have been the choice of attack for both teams, really, in extra time. Jorge Sanchez, Monteagudo. Sanchez dips in. Christian Sanchez, he's had his moments up that right flank. Jakovic. Monteagudo. Combination play in the midfield. Olsen taps away. No signs of any black shirts. Alas!
Alas having the shot from distance. Just getting his head up. Looking for that near post. Doesn't miss by much. But for Firpo, the frustrations of the number 18, Juan Campos, he had two great looks in that first segment of extra time. trying to be way too tricky at the top of the 18-yard box. Little step over with a heel flick, just turning the ball over needlessly in the attack for Firpo.
Ruben Quijada, who came on as a substitute late last Tuesday, will come on as a substitute exceptionally late. About 119th minute. 109th minute, pardon me. And that's it for the substitutions. The winner here, whether it by a goal in this extra time or by penalty kicks, will join Toluca, Marathon of Honduras, and either San Francisco of Panama, San Juan Jablote of Trinidad and Tobago, with the Panamanian side with the edge after the first leg.
And with the introduction of Quijada, the DC United midfield and backline have to be that much more aware of what their positioning is. Anytime you have those fresh legs come in and start to run at you, we've seen the 3 substitutions that Agustin Castillo has made, all 3 extremely offensive.
Good run by Zatela. Pontius, an elevated boot, but no call there. Gomez gets away from him. Olsen squeezes out Marino. It allows Fred to get in. Zatela's got the freshest legs and has the best ideas of the DC attackers right now. Jacobson. That's going to go well over the head of Wallace, who was offside anyway. An exhausting schedule, getting even worse for DC United with an extra 30 minutes. Gomez will come deeper up to try and help his field players in any way. That includes clearances. This might go all the way through. Jakovic. It's out wide to Wallace. Big field to cover. That's Pontius, the more active. Gomez has gone to a crawl here. As many other players out there have. 9.5 minutes to go. Jakovic. Little seam there, but a mishit. Fred gets a second look at it. Not sure what happened there. Maybe Pontius left his leg out.
Keep an eye on Pontius.
The ball had gotten away from him.
And he makes the most of it. I mean, for Tercios, it's a smart decision defensively. You take that big touch, you see just a leg left in, you look to draw the contact because you know you're not going to get on the end of it. And for the referee, Oscar Mancado ends up just blowing his whistle. Very, very soft foul.
Very soft, but very costly in the end, as it would have given a rare access to Fred into goal. Water under the bridge now. Fred takes a big risk to come around Jorge Sanchez. Now Alas, and that's his range. Drives it in. One hop, no problem. Josh Wicks. Alas, a player used to play in USL. Was the American system somewhat. Wallace taps it ahead for Pontius. He's clipped up as there's no advantage there. And when's the last time there's been a set piece of any kind for DC United? Something that could play to their advantage. It's been ages.
But now the question becomes, is it Mark Birch territory or is it Christian Gomez looking for that far post? Decisions you also have to make is who stays back at this stage. You see Jacobson, Jakovic pushing up on that far post. You've got to be very, very aware and not allow Firpo to get any counterattack situation whatsoever.
114th minute. Gomez has scored on one free kick. This is much deeper. Drives it in and way over the crossbar. Maybe on its way to Honduras. Here's some of the chuckles from the crowd. Their thoughts on that attempt. Christian Gomez, you feel for, and you would imagine it's only a matter of time. The effort he's had to put forth.
There you see the chance. And at this stage of the match, just because of the fatigue factor, the amount of minutes that Christian Gomez has played, probably not the best idea. Like to think that the service on the far post, create havoc, maybe get a knockdown, just put a ball inside the 18-yard box, somewhere between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. That probably would have been the right decision. You got to love the fact that he's got the guts to take a shot like that, to try to be the hero. That being said, probably wasn't the best decision.
And you mentioned, is it going to be Gomez or Birch? And even though it may not have been the best angle for Birch, based on what we've seen from Gomez and the fact he can barely run, you wonder if you don't give it to a guy in Birch who at least has a little more steam.
Well, as far as power and placement goes, you'd want to give it to Birch just because of his ability to strike a ball with that left foot. With Gomez, we've seen his placement, his ability on set pieces, but at that angle, trying to go for that far post with laces, it's always going to be difficult, even if it's in the first 10 minutes of a match.
And you wonder if Gomez is one of your first penalty takers, if it gets to that, and it looks very likely the way he was cramping up there. He is not really in the attack here. He's withdrawn a bit. You can see him on the sideline. And clearly still affected by these 115 minutes plus of action. Marino. Benitez, held out by Nemoff. Again, offline. Not on the same page. Benitez. He's in the 18. He's down again, and he's going to get booked this time. Finally, as he tried and tried again. Only the second yellow for Firpo.
And you just wonder how many times he was going to try it. Pretty obvious. Referee's right behind him. Ben Olsen's got his arm underneath him. And right there, goes down. No contact with the legs. Goes in the box. He's looking for it. He's either going to get the referee to point to the spot or point to his pocket.
The boy cried wolf a little too often. He's been very well officiated by Oscar Moncada. 3 minutes and change to go. Blocked by Birch. These DC players passing the ball on, and their recipients not in any way ready to receive him. Olsen charging through. But possession lost. One of these teams dig deep here. Put together the touches that could lead to that glorious scoring opportunity, or even lead to a free kick. Fred skids it across to Zatela. Nemoff able to wait to the last minute. Fred. He lost the ball and he brought a machete in, and that could be a red. It is. Straight red card for Fred. And if DC United can escape the Cuscatlan with passage to the next round at this stage, with this latest development, it would be something.
That's just frustration. That's fatigue. And for Fred, he's lost the ball an awful lot tonight, something we're not used to seeing, and he deserves to be sent off. He lined him up. He lined him up. Absolutely nothing he's got to argue with. Carlos Monteagudo does a very good job stepping in. And when you take the plant foot like that, you have absolutely no doubt the referee is going to just pull out from his back pocket.
What a good day from Fred, who's yet to really establish himself in Major League Soccer in 3 seasons. Certainly he's had some spectacular moments. This is not one of them.
Well, thankfully for DC United, there's only a few minutes left in this match. It'll probably change the perspective for Tommy Sohn if it goes to penalties. But with Christian Gomez cramping, you see him doing a little bit of work rate. Thankfully, he looks to be a little bit more mobile. And Firpo just needs to continue to put the ball in dangerous spots. They've had most success when they've looked to put the ball up over the top of the back line.
120th minute. Birch. Everyone back for DC United. It's penalties or bust. Monteagudo still off on the side. It's 10 versus 10. He's in no rush to get back out there. Didn't make any eye contact. Jorge Sanchez. After a brief intercept. Offside. And a free kick, in fact. A little advantage has been played. Monteagudo's back out there, and now you put all your beans or all your eggs in this one basket.
That's another soft call. Jacobson's going in, but Sanchez was always going down before he even came close.
This has been the best player for Firpo. Monteagudo's cross. Repelled by Zatela. And there is the end of 120 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's penalties here at the Cuscatlan for a spot in the group stages. DC United ending up with 10 players, which will make the decision for the penalty takers a little easier for Tom Sohn. But clearly both teams...
With it anyway. And for Josh Wicks, that's something he's going to think about, unfortunately, in the back of his mind. How quickly does he make his decision? Does he look to read the build-up and the walk-up of the opponent? Or does he just guess early and go down?
It will be Firpo to go first. And it will be Denis Alas. And the experience certainly on the side of Gomez in these kind of situations. But Wicks, a big lad, and he's still got something in those legs. Alas hits it. To be expected, a man with a thunderbolt of a foot.
It's all laces, all power, not so much placement. When you step up to a penalty like this, you're trying to keep your head down, make sure you don't skyrocket it up and over. And for Wicks, he read it well. Really nothing the keeper can do about it.
First penalty taker for DC, rookie Chris Pontius. And Tom Sohn going with the fresher legs to start the shootout.
And that's interesting. Pontius, look at the way he's stomping that ground down. He's trying to make sure it's not uneven. Once you do that, sometimes you loosen up your plant foot area. Just keep an eye on that left-hand side of the ball as he approaches.
Some gamesmanship from Juan Jose Gomez. Pressure on Pontius. Sends it in. Well taken. 1-1.
How the young rookie continues to impress. Way steps up, inside of the foot, just open up his body, hits it with pace, gets it just high enough, or even if the keeper reacts, it's going to be difficult to get his right hand across his body quick enough just upon that outside. And you look at that spot. Jorge Sanchez just putting it on the front side of the penalty spot.
Number 2 for Firpo, and he top drawers it. Wicks knew where it was going. So did Sanchez.
Once again, Sanchez replicating Halas. Head down, two-step, just laces it. Wicks is trying to read it. Absolutely nothing he can do about it. That's just great finish. Very, very close, though. Got to keep your head down.
Fresh legs again. We'll get the call from Tom Sohn, Danny Satela. And the pressure starts to grow for the DC penalty takers. And almost a similar taken stroke as Chris Pontius goes to his right. It's 2-2.
Another 22-year-old stepping up. Inside the right foot, same spot. This time Zatella hits the inside of the side net. Second time Gomez has guessed wrong. And that starts to play in a keeper's head.
DC looking like they've practiced this so far, as Victor Merino is next. Merino to his left makes it 3-2. Perfect after 5 penalties.
And Merino, the third player in a row to strike the ball with his laces. Something you don't see all the time. You give yourself a higher chance for a mistake, but the way he struck this, laces a little bit of the inside of the foot, just curling it inside the post, side net. Another good goal for Firpo.
Well, these players have dug deep. The penalty takers have, to give a little something extra in this all-important shootout. Now it's Ben Olsen's turn. The first DC United player to take a penalty that has played the full 120 minutes. The run-up, Olsen, 3-3.
Olsen quieting the crowd, even things up, laces, and once again Gomez guessing the wrong decision. He's already picked his side. You can see his plant foot. Olsen's pointing where he's going to hit it, and he puts it perfectly.
The captain, Manuel Salazar. Wicks has come close to 1. All other 5 penalties have made it through without any problems. Salazar, the number 4 penalty taker, puts it over.
And that's what happens when you hit it with your laces. 4th in a row, and the captain, who's just had a fantastic 2 legs. He's going right down the middle. Wicks read it the entire time, gets his hands up quickly. You see his initial step is a little bit to his left. Wicks recognizes it's coming right down the middle, gets his hands up. And that's a big mistake from Salazar.
He did what Sanchez did. It's as if Sanchez stole Salazar's idea, and it didn't work that time. Now Mark Birch can put Firpo in a big hole here if he converts. Mark Birch does just that. 4-3 DC.
And just a ton of power behind this strike. Birch gets his head down. And you see Gomez, once he realizes that's coming down the middle, watch his left leg. He tries to get it up. It's just a bit too slow. He's lined up way to his right. Watch his try to get his, he's trying to flick it. Just perfect placement right down the middle, halfway up.
So, Christian Sanchez needs to make this. If he misses, DC United can book their spot in the group stages. Here comes Christian Sanchez. Firpo are still alive. 4-4.
A short little run up. Sanchez, another player, 5th in a row. Wicks right through his hands. He reacted as quickly as he could. Get his hands up quickly to his right. Goes right between them. Wicks has done a really good job reading these. He's just a bit behind on it. But overall, he's read that run up very, very well.
It's been close in 3 of 5. Juan Jose Gomez has not been close in any. But that said, if he comes up here, all is forgiven. It's Christian Gomez. Had some cramping issues. Are they behind him? Here comes Gomez! He sent DC through! Barely! Hits a post, it's enough! And DC United shed their demons from a season ago and get, in essence, their first victory.
We saw him step up. Tommy Sohn went looking to see who was going to take his penalty kicks, and immediately this man, Christian Gomez making the most of his return back to DC United after away for a season with the Colorado Rapids. Just perfect placement inside the post. Gomez can't get to it. And for DC United, riding the shoulders of that finish, Christian Gomez. Just a great way to end this match.
It could have been a miserable week for DC.